much for joining me. I'm Jessica Kringle. Of course, most of you know me as Mrs. Claus, and we are continuing to count down the days until Christmas by doing a different recipe of sweets or treats each day. And so let's go to our Advent calendar and find out what we get to make today. So today is the 11th of December. We're almost halfway there, and oh, this is so yummy. We get to learn to make English Almond Toffee today. Now remember that yesterday we blanched almonds and I made some extras for this recipe today. So if you don't know how to do that, you weren't watching yesterday, then go ahead and check that video out so that you can learn how to do that. But you know, I'll tell you, some years my mom just says, I'm not going to peel all those almonds, and she puts them in without blanching them. Tastes just as yummy, trust me. So, you know, that can be personal preference as well. Now, if you'd like the full recipe, you can go to my website, www.crafterscountdown.com, and you will find those there. For now, let me go wash my hands so that we can get started. Alrighty, I've washed my hands, and we have got the ingredients here. Yesterday we made blanched almonds, and that gets the brown peel off of them, and we need to coarsely chop these. And so since it's coarsely, we use the wacka chopper instead of the food processor, because that gets them really powdered. So I've placed those into here, and we give this a twist, and then we need a straight surface. First thing that we start cooking is our butter, and we're going to take our butter and bring it to a boil, or as they say in some places, the boil. I don't know what the difference is. Now that this is boiling, we're going to add our sugar, our water, the salt, and the corn syrup. Now we need to cook this over a low heat, stirring constantly until it returns to a boil. So we'll watch for that. This is just starting to boil, so we're going to stop stirring now, because that can make the sugar crystallize while it's cooking to at least the soft ball stage. We need our handy cooking thermometer for the rest of this, because we need to let it go to the soft ball stage, or 236 degrees. This little thermometer is wonderful because it has lines on it that show where those softball, hardball, and other things are. Now remember that you want to make sure that your thermometer is in the liquid, but not actually touching the bottom of the pan, because you don't want the heat to register from the element in your stove. You want the heat to be from the liquid you've got. So we will leave that to boil until it gets to the right temperature, and then we'll continue on. Okay, this has reached the soft ball stage on the thermometer here. And so now what we need to do is add the blanched almonds that we chopped coarsely. Now, you know, if you don't have one of those fancy chopper whacker things, then you certainly do it the old-fashioned way by hand. It just kind of makes a mess sometimes, so I use the easier tools when I can. But if you don't have it, no worries. You can still chop them. And some people go and buy them chopped, pre-chopped also, so that's also an option for you. So let me grab those. Add these to here, and then we need to stir this constantly until it reaches 290 degrees. We have some increased respect for professional confectioners now, don't we? All right. 290 degrees is the hard crack stage on the thermometer, and so that's what we're looking for, is a really hard crack when we go to break this into pieces. So this will take a little while. I'm going to go ahead and work the Christmas magic while I stir this, and I'll be back with you at 290 degrees. We have cooked this to the hard crack stage, and it is plenty dark brown and beautiful. So now we need to remove it from the heat, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this off. We are going to add our baking soda and our vanilla. And remember, we add vanilla after the fact so that it doesn't all burn off. It will probably sizzle a little bit. There it goes. Sat on top until I stirred it, and then it sizzled. And then we will turn this out onto a greased baking sheet, and I've pre-greased it so that it's ready. And then we're going to spread this out to 1/4 of an inch thick so it won't fill up the entire baking sheet. It just will have some edges on here. Next, we're going to sprinkle the top of this with our semi-sweet chocolate pieces. And the heat from this will make them melt. And then I also chopped some almonds that weren't blanched, and we'll sprinkle that also over the top. And then we allow this to cool before we break it into pieces. So we'll need just a little bit more time again. All right, we have let this cool completely. And so now we're going to break it. I wasn't sure if we needed the hammer or not, but I think that we can just break this with the knife. Just get, oh, okay, and then, oh yeah, we don't need Santa's hammer. It's not like the caramels that we made at the beginning. So we just break these into small pieces, and we can arrange them on a plate to share with others, right? That is how we make English Almond Toffee. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I'm really glad that you're with me on this countdown. I'm having so much fun teaching you my family's recipes. I hope that you'll be with me tomorrow so that we can go to our Advent calendar and see what it is that we'll be baking on sweets and treats for tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.